Hi, alright, this is Kat. I'm going to show you a one stroke per color painting process. Kind of from the get-go. So my subject is an apple. I have it over here. Well, it's right there, but see, you're not going to have the same view as me because you're looking down at my painting. So I'm shoving my apple over there so I can see it. And I have a photocopy here of approximately what I'm looking at. I'm using a viewfinder to look at the apple, which equals this square here. Wow, this is kind of a crooked viewfinder. Which equals that square there, which equals this square. So when I'm looking through it, I'm going to say, here's this top mark, and what part of my apple is closest to that, etc., etc. So let's see. And you can kind of see that. I know it's not the best, but I think I should probably have made it smaller. So closest to my side jot there is a part of my panel which goes up at about an angle of 1 degree to like 1 o'clock, and then I'm going to sketch in the bits of my apple that I and that's enough of my lines for you to see. I'm using a graphite pencil. This one's a Progresso, what is it, a 4B. Alright, now here is my palette box for painting. So I want you to be able to see this. This is a Stay Wet palette. You see that? Masterson's Stay Wet Handy palette. I love these guys. Flip off the lid and voila, there's your paint. And then my favorite brushes are here. I have an 8, I believe, and a 10 Royal Langnickle soft grip student quality brushes. They're like $3 each. I do highly recommend going with the biggest brush that you can handle. I'm gonna start. And what the idea behind one stroke per color is that I'm looking at my apple and I'm going to try to approximate a color in here, which, well, my palette looks pretty wet here. In another video I talk about setting up your palette. So we have a quinacridone magenta, we have a primary yellow, we have a phthalo blue green shade on the same side as the yellow, we have a phthalo blue red shade on the same side as the magenta. Oh my goodness, sorry, I felt a sneeze coming on. Okay, so I've mixed up a color. Oops, I don't know who I'm showing it to over there. I'm liking it. I think it's close to my apple right up here, so I'm going to put a stroke in. Dadgummit, there is a lot of water in my palette, which means it's going to be tricky getting these colors to not be totally transparent. So I just pulled a little bit of white in. So the idea behind one stroke is that you're just putting one stroke down and then you have to go back and mix some more color. It's a way of making sure that you're really looking at what you're doing and not just dabbing color on. So I'm trying to look around my apple. The far side of it is a little bit lighter, and I would say it's not a red apple. This would be a stripy apple. All right, so I'm trying to get some basic colors laid down. I know I'm going to end up with a great degree of transparency here, which means I'm going to be putting another layer of color on top. So I'm not going to worry too much about how much it's covering. What I'm working on right now is making sure that my strokes are going the direction I want the apple to go. My brush was just getting really full, so I wanted to rinse it out a little bit, and then I used my paper towel to squeeze most of the paint out, and that gives me my nice sharp edge. I love bright. Okay, and I think I want to go lighter again. Something that can happen too is as you add more colors, the colors can change. For example, if I were to put in my background color right now, that's going to change how some of those reds feel. I'm not going to do it just yet, but I will do it pretty soon because I want to show you what the heck I'm Alright, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do some of the background because that will help me judge where I'm at with my my piece. So I'm going to mix up a gray by pulling some of this stuff together. So I'm going to also add in my panel there, and that's going to probably change some of the color of the apple too, but my main point here is to get you to understand the idea of one stroke per color. So I might stop and call the apple mostly done at some point here. I'm trying to make a brown. I make browns usually by taking an orange and mixing some blue in, but my palette is so wet yet. You might be discovering this quandary of having a really juicy palette if you've got a brand new palette going. It will tame down a little, and if you remember, your palette is usable for months. I have palettes that I don't open for a week or two, and then I open them up and they're just fine. So now I'm going to stroke on my ground. Okay, I should point there, like around here. Go again. I think I'm gonna stop now. No, I'm not. Let's see. I do need to put that highlight on. Let me just put my highlight on and then I'm gonna stop. And I will probably continue to paint on this, but I'm not unhappy. So I'm seeing a glowy bit right there for my apple. So I'm gonna take some of my blue-green over here because it's kind of a favorite color, and I'm just gonna scuff a little bit of that on here to suggest my highlight, and maybe just a hint of that on the tip of the, yeah, that works, and maybe just a dab over there. Okay, I'm gonna call it done. So there's my finished apple. There's the photo. So one stroke per color. You're trying to do just one stroke, do another stroke. This is a little thin out here yet, but I'm gonna let it dry and then I will do some more. All right, thanks for watching.